Hey, fourth grade. We are going to continue our work with The Young Man and the Sea. We left off on chapter 6, and I'm excited to read it with you guys today. Instead of summarizers while we're doing our online learning, I think it would be better for us to just enjoy the book, and I might have a little question from time to time, or maybe I'll post something to help your understanding a little bit more with the book. There's a lot of boat vocabulary, so I'd like to make sure we are able to visualize what it is that we're reading. But for the most part, I just want us to enjoy the book and leave comments below of what you think about it and ask questions and anything that pops up. So no more summarizers, but I think we're still going to have a good time going through the chapters. So chapter 6 of The Young Man and the Sea is called The Finest Kind. One of the best things about Mr. Woodwell's boat shed is the clean smell of wood shavings and varnish. It sort of clears my head to take a deep breath. Even the smoke from his little corncob pipe smells good, the way it blends in. When I drag the bad planks into the shed, he's sitting on a stool at his workbench, sharpening his chisels on an oilstone. "'Lo, Samuel," he says without looking up. "Lay those down on the sawhorses, if you please, next to the cedar planks." I lay 'em down and rub my hands on my pants. Took a lot longer than I figured. Mr. Woodwell nods as he wraps his chisels up in soft cloth. "That's the way it is with boats." I reach in my left pocket and pull out an envelope. "I only got $28 for the new wood right now," I tell him. "So can we go up to that and then stop?" The old man smiles. "I figured to charge you exactly what I paid for it," he says, "which was nothing." "Somebody gave it to you?" "My father did many years ago. He left me a woodlot full of prime white cedar. That's how I first got started in the business of building boats. Had to do something with all that cedar, didn't I? I guess. So you can put the money away. You're going to need that and a lot more to repair the engine when it comes to that." We go over to the sawhorses and he shows me how to clamp the old plank onto the new wood and trace around it with a pencil. When I'm done tracing, he has me take the clamps off and carry the new plank to the bandsaw table. "We'll have to be very careful," he says. "Keep your hands well away from the blade. You want me to cut it?" "My eyes are weak, Samuel. I can't see the line. I'll guide you through it. First rule, never rush a cut. Second rule, let the blade do the cutting. Don't force it. Third rule, especially for beginners, don't cut too close to the line." We position the new plank on the cutting table. The old man presses a button and the bandsaw blade starts running. "Ease it forward," he says, putting one hand on the plank near mine. He can tell I'm scared to make a mistake and ruin the plank. "Can you steer a small boat into the current?" he asks. "Sure, that's how I got here." Think of this plank as a boat. You're steering the plank so the blade stays on that side of the line. It makes sense. At first I'm sort of wobbly and worried the blade will get ahead of me, but then I realize the blade don't move, the plank does, and nothing won't happen until I make it happen, and from then on we're okay. After I get the plank cut out, Mr. Woodwell has me set it in his bench vise, and he takes up a block plane. "This part I can still manage," he says. What he does is feel along the edge for the pencil mark and shave off the wood real smooth until it's just touching the line. "How does it look?" he asks. "If the line disappears, you tell me." I go, "It's perfect, Mr. Woodwell," and that makes him smile and nod to himself, like he wasn't sure he could still do it until he started. After we get the new plank shaped, we take a break so Mr. Woodwell can puff on his cob pipe for a while and I can drink lemonade and have a plate of cookies to keep up my strength. I'm munching a cookie and gandering around the shed when I notice this big old harpoon up on the shed wall, sort of hiding in the shadows. The kind of skinny, wicked long harpoon used for giant tuna, like my dad used to catch before he switched to TV and beer. "That was your father's," Mr. Woodwell says when he sees me looking. "Shaped it himself that year he worked with me. Last thing he ever made in this shop. Left it here as a memento." "What's a memento?" "A token of friendship. Something to remember a person by." Mr. Woodwell looks like he's got more to say, but he holds back. I guess he knows I ain't in a mood to talk about my dad right now, or what a great harpooner he used to be, or how many big fish he caught when times were good. When the old man finishes his pipe, he goes back to his bench and takes out a different plane. He explains that the new plank needs a beveled edge so it will fit up tight against the keel. "This is the tricky part," he says, showing me what he's doing. Fortunately, I know that particular keel pretty well and remember where it curves. You want me to do it? Rather, you watch and make sure I don't make a mistake. The old man is pulling my leg, of course. I bet he ain't made a mistake in a long time. You can tell the way he holds the plane and skates it over the edge. The way he makes the shavings flutter down into thin little pieces of wood that look like curly wings. Smell that? He asks. Fresh cut cedar, like they'll put in a chest or closet to keep the moths away. This particular plank has been seasoning here in the shed for near on 20 years, but it still cuts fresh. Nothing like it. It takes us the rest of the day to get the new planks ready. When they're done, Mr. Woodwell suggests we stand back and admire our work. Not bad, he says, nodding with satisfaction. Not bad at all for a young boy and an old geezer with bad eyes. I think we're a pretty good team, Samuel. Don't you? Yes, sir, I say. Finest kind. And that's where we'll stop for today. Join me tomorrow for Chapter 7.